Hey friends, Sadukie from Nimble Pros here. Over on Blue Sky, we're posting a question of the week at the beginning of the week. And we'd love to know more about you all. And yes, there are humans behind those Nimble Pros posts. I'm one of them. This week's question is, what's your go-to design pattern and how has it saved the day in a project? Don't worry about overthinking this question. I've already done that for you. A design pattern is not a one pattern solves all the problems solution. It should not be seen as a golden hammer. Design patterns are typically focused for particular scenarios or use cases. When learning about the patterns, we've seen people jump into them without considering their complexity or trade-offs. We've also seen people trying to be clever and overcomplicating their code by writing a Rube Goldberg chain of design patterns. Another problem we see with design patterns is that people may prematurely optimize their code, making it harder to maintain in the long run. For example, using the decorator pattern when a simple in-memory cache would suffice. Just because you have a go-to doesn't make it the only design pattern in your tool belt. Something else to keep in mind is that as technology evolves over time, we've been able to identify more patterns that aren't in the Gang of Four book. For example, some other patterns might be things like the circuit breaker pattern, the bulkhead pattern, and even CQRS. Now if you're wondering, okay Sadukie, what's your go-to design pattern? For me, it's the repository pattern. And why? Because there's this whole persistence ignorance. You don't need to have your SQL readers, for example, all throughout your code. You can have it so that you can have those separated. With a repository pattern, I can separate my objects from the persistence. If an app is done well, then I should be able to run it in my lower environments and my production environments with no changes. So what happens when I decide to go from like SQL Server to Postgres or SQL Server to MongoDB? Maybe I want to use an in-memory storage provider. You should be able to change your infrastructure plumbing in a small spot rather than having to reference persistence platform-specific libraries throughout your code. This is how it has saved the day while working with my clients. But wait, there's more. Design patterns are something I've gotten excited about in teaching, especially since there are moments from when I was in school where these things didn't make sense. They taught the theory and the pattern, but there wasn't a good real-world practical example for many of the patterns. So I'm here to talk about them and show how to work with them in practical applications. I've done some past webinars on patterns such as the proxy pattern, and the factory pattern, and the object mother pattern, and you'll learn about these and the builder pattern and more in our on-demand webinars, which are linked in the description. Also, coming up this April, we're going to be doing a webinar on design patterns for distributed systems. So make sure you follow the link and then click notify so you get the notification when we go live. So, what is your go-to design pattern and how has it saved the day? Leave us a reply on Blue Sky and know that, yes, there are humans who are looking at your answers. Looking forward to engaging with you and see you on the next YouTube video.